from KMOX, sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin comfort dealer.
And by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis and Chesterfield Fence and Deck.
Now, the Gashouse Gang on KMOX.
Well, look at this crew. We've got a good one here today with Chris Ranji and Bernie Miklas and Matt Pauley. I'm Tom Ackerman, the Gashouse Gang, coming to you from St. Louis and from the KMOX Townhouse in Jupiter, Florida. Actually, technically Palm Beach Gardens. Should I give out the address? All the Cardinals fans will come over and hang out with you, talk a little ball over at the KMOX
House in Jupiter.
Yeah, come on. How you doing, buddy? Let's get to you right now.
Now, a St. Louis Cardinals spring training report, sponsored by St. Louis Composting. Composting, growing gardens, and making memories. And by Happy Roof. We always create happy endings on the voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
Matt Pauley's live. I don't know that Matt even knows this. We did a little live look-in yesterday on KMOX in your game. We were watching it there was a big moment for Romero, and we had your call of the ball that went up the middle that Weatherholt tried to get to, and then the subsequent pop out to Church that ended the inning. So we did a little live look-in on your call with John Rooney and Mike Claiborne. Well done.
Oh, thank you. That was fun yesterday. But for people watching on the stream, I just changed my my name to Palm Beach Gardens from Jupiter, Florida, just so we are factually correct here here on the Gashouse Gang, because that's what we do at KMOX. Yeah. Yesterday was it was a trudge of a game. It took a while. I think I figured out yesterday there were 22 3-2 counts in yesterday's game.
Oof.
There was like almost 400 pitches thrown. It was an interesting one.
Yeah, and it ended in a very interesting way. A wild pitch that you said this morning on your reports that it was actually a foul ball.
Yeah, so it was, when it happened, it was either a hit by pitch or foul ball. There was never a chance that it was a wild pitch. And God bless Bruce Dreckman. He just let that thing play out, and the winning run came in and scored, and they called it a day. So that's spring training for you.
Has anybody caught your eye? I mean, there's 3 games. There's just not much to go on. But, as Dick Vermeil and football coaches like to say, when, they're like summer camp, training camp practices, like they'll say, that guy flashed. That guy flashed.
He flashed.
Yeah. I saw him. Yeah, I saw him. Is there anybody flashing?
2 things I've really that caught my eye. And we talked about a little bit on Gashouse Gang yesterday with Raniel Rodriguez and his at bats and just the bat speed and how that's going to play. That was so much fun. And then Thomas Saggese made that play at shortstop, either the first or second game. I can't remember at this point. It all runs together. But it's the best defensive play that he has made as a Cardinal. And we are spending so much time talking about Thomas Saggese as an outfielder, and it's a legit conversation, and it's why they were able to go get Arias as opposed to a right-handed bat that plays the outfield. But holy moly, I've never seen Thomas Saggese make a play like that defensively. So I think those are the 2 things that jump out at me so far.
What is the thing that you do look for? Because as Bernie said, it's really difficult to know much or take much from just 3 games. And really, I'm not sure you can get much out of a week of spring training play. So is there something in particular that you really do look for? Is it defensively or is it something else?
I think you hope to just not see something that's terrible. Like anything that's good, you take with a grain of salt because of where you're at. If something looks really, really bad, then you're going, what's going on here? Red flags going up. You're going to watch. But even like we talked about J.J. Weatherholt yesterday, defensively, he's been iffy so far. He has 2 errors in his first 3 games. I'm not worried about it. Ollie's not worried about it. Nobody's worried about it. It looks bad on a box score. Who cares? If that continues for the next 3 weeks, then all of a sudden you retroactively say, oh, well, you know what? Maybe those first 3 games, that was something there. So I'm not trying to be dismissive of your question, Ron. I don't think there's a whole lot to learn here in the early going.
I'll give you one. So Heimblum told me not to get too excited about him. And he said, let's not, what were his words? We don't want to give you like that he's going to be playing all the time. He's called it a cameo. Raniel Rodriguez. He looks like the real deal to me. Now there's going to be a long ways to go here, but I like the bat speed. I like the way he looks. Nice first impression, I would say.
Absolutely. And at some point, if he were to like be in the big leagues, there would be a book on him and he would get exposed. I mean, he's 19 years old, but when there's not a book on a guy and he can just go up and face some fastballs and show his super elite bat speed, as you allude to, Tom, it's just fun. Those are the fun moments in spring. It's not about trying to put too much definition to something. It's about enjoying something that's cool. And Reynel Rodriguez in a Major League Spring Training game as a starter, so he's actually facing some legitimate guys and just seeing a glimpse of what it might be, that's fun, that's cool, that's the best part of spring training.
Yeah, I think that the most exciting thing about him, other than the power, I mean, he's 19 years old, and I would venture to say that there's not many guys in camp that have his advanced plate discipline. I mean, I'm talking about major league players too. This kid is extraordinary because he just won't chase pitches. I mean, and we've seen Cardinals prospects. We've seen prospects all over baseball come through. They have that big time hole in their swing because they'll chase. And at least so far in the minor leagues, I mean, his walk rate's about the same as his strikeout rate. He just won't do it. And it happened the other day with the double. 2 sinkers out of the zone. Nah, I'm not going to swing at that. Give me something good. Boom. Yeah. He's really advanced, and that's what's exciting about him. Hey, I want to ask you something. I'm sorry to make a speech there, Matt Pauley.
You're good.
Handicap something for us early on, and this is subject to change, maybe on a daily basis, but handicap a situation for us. Okay, if Lars Nootbaar does not start at the regular season, he probably won't. Let's be realistic. Handicap what's going to happen in left field. Like, who will get the opportunity there?
I think it'd be a platoon between Jose Fermin and Nathan Church. And Church is getting a lot of time in center field. I need to ask Ollie about how he views the center field competition, because Church has started 2 of the first 3 games. I don't really know if they're actually viewing that as a competition or if that is just Victor Scott II's job. But to answer the question that you just went with, Jose Fermin has started 2 of the first 3 games here in spring in left field. So I think he and Church would be splitting time out there.
Can I get a real quick follow-up because it's pertinent? Nelson Velasquez is a guy that has shown, big time power at times in his career. Bloom signed him, hoping maybe to get a lottery ticket. But what does Nelson Velasquez have to do? Is it simple as just show mad power during spring training to maybe snatch a starting job in left field?
Yeah, I think he has to really go win a job. I think it has to be, you get to spring and it's obvious that Nelson Velasquez has to be on this roster. If it's an iffy sort of thing, he's not going to take plate appearances away from guys who have been in the organization and younger players. Velasquez has a chance to make this team, but he's going to have to do it. There's not going to be a scholarship for Nelson Velasquez.
Speaking of the outfield, I want to talk about right field here, because Jordan Walker has got a lot of attention in the last couple of years because he was their best prospect for a while. And I don't know what really to look for in spring training, because the numbers aren't going to matter much. It's really, I guess, how he looks, right? Is that the way you're assessing him, or what we should be looking for with him as spring training goes on?
I'm watching his swing decisions. That's the number one thing for me for Walker. If he's flailing at that pitch that's low and away, then it's not going to work. If he's not, then there's a path forward. I'm not trying to oversimplify this, but Jordan Walker, nothing else can happen with Jordan Walker's development till he stops swinging at stuff that he can't hit.
Matt Pauley, we're going to let you get after it because I know they're opening up the clubhouse here in just a little while, and you've got a game coming up tonight, actually. 5:05 is our game, 4:55 pregame. That game is going to be on 11:20 a.m. only because we have the Billikens at Dayton tonight on 104.1 FM. So it's one of those situations where we get to split the content onto the 2 different signals, and that's a fun night for all St. Louis sports fans. Let's hope that they get the right baseballs this time. No batting practice balls. Okay.
That'd be good.
Yes. Let's do it.
What is that all about?
Yeah. It just,
spring training for everybody.
It happens. It happens.
I guess.
All right.
See you guys.
Thanks, buddy. Matt Pauley from the KMOX Townhouse in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. Always a pleasure to visit with him. We've got Bernie Miklas with us, which is awesome. That is Tuesdays with Bernie, and we also do Thursdays with Bernie on this very show. Bernie, one of our fine sponsors of the Gashouse Gang is Stewart's American Mortgage.
I'm happy to talk about my friend Stuart Rosenblum. And by the way, seriously, please call him Stewie. He's proud to own and operate one of the most customer-friendly, I'd say number one in terms of being customer-friendly mortgage companies in St. Louis and Illinois. The name, of course, is Stewart's American Mortgage Corporation, and Stewie is unique because you got to love this. He gives his personal cell phone number out to not only just his customers, but anyone who has questions, needs to learn about how he can help. His customer service is not only exceptional, but it's also very personal. How many people give out their personal cell phone numbers? I wouldn't give out mine, I'll tell you that. So put his number on your contacts list, 314-324-4440. And then you won't have to wait on hold on a customer line for hours without knowing if you're going to get help or not. But if you call Stewie, you're going to get that help and get it quickly. But the biggest difference with Stewart's American Mortgage, you're going to pay less. That's because Stewart is the only lender to offer the bagel loan, which is famous now in St. Louis. It's called the bagel loan because it looks like a zero, that hole in the bagel in the middle. You pay zero in fees that other dealers charge for when you refinance, and it's always a great time to do it. You pay no appraisal fees, no closing costs, no title fees, no broker fees, zero. And when you buy a home and take out a loan for $200,000 or more, you pay zero lender fees. So the bagel loan is the way to go here at Stewart's American Mortgage. It'll save you thousands of dollars, and they'll also be able to close on your loan in as little as 10 days, as opposed to 3 or 4 weeks at other places. So to find out more about Stewart's American Mortgage, just Google bagel loan or call Stewie directly at 314-324-4440. Thank you.
That's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
If you suffer from burning, tingling, or numb feet, pay special attention as we discuss neuropathy with Dr. Patton, D.C. Doctor, what is neuropathy?
Peripheral neuropathy is nerve damage to the feet and legs.
What are the symptoms?
The symptoms are numbness, burning, tingling, pain, and loss of balance.
Is neuropathy treatable?
It's absolutely treatable, and we have amazing results.
If you have burning, tingling, numbness, coldness in your feet or hands or balance issues, call us at Comprehensive Integrated Health today for a nerve damage screening. The screening will tell if you're at risk for serious complications and if you're a candidate for our cutting-edge treatment program. Don't wait until your symptoms are so severe nothing can be done. End-stage neuropathy leaves people confined to walkers, wheelchairs, and even amputations. The first 10 callers will receive a free nerve damage screening. Call 636-538-5188. That's 636-538-5188 for your free nerve damage screening. 636-538-5188.
Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
Considering buying or selling a home? When it comes to the Gelman team with eXp Realty, numbers don't lie. Over 1,500 Google and Zillow 5-star reviews, nearly 6,000 homes, and $2.5 billion in real estate sold. Call 314-336-1991, thegelmanteam.com.
If you have been in a car accident in the past and have settled your case, I may have some good news. Some unethical lawyers have people known as runners who come directly to your hospital room or home and solicit your case. It's a disbarable offense. Anyone that would hire these scumbags needs to have their heads examined. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Now for the good news. If this happened to you, we will sue these lowlifes and fight to get all your fees back. And then look and see if these bottom feeders also malpracticed your case and sue them for that too. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. Visit forthepeople.com for a free consultation or call Pound Law on your cell, pound 529. If someone does this to you, call the Bar Association and report them. Let's fight these bums. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com. Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Bernie Nicholas on KMOX is sponsored by Stewart's American Mortgage, home of the Bagel Loan, and by Salika Heating and Cooling, a Daikin comfort dealer.
I thought he did a nice job. He mixed well. And I know he's been working a little bit more on the depthiness of the slider. So overall, he felt good and something we can build off of.
That's Ollie Marmol, Cardinals manager, visiting with the media after the game yesterday. Michael McGreevy is who he's talking about right there. We talked about him giving up the home run on the batting practice ball, and then after that, he was able to get through it pretty well. I mean, he goes to, again, it's early in the season, but he did what he had to do, throws 2 innings, gives up a run on 2 hits, walked no one, and struck out 2. And Bernie, that's really what you're looking for from Michael McGreevy. Just get off to a nice start, show that you have some control. And Ollie talking right there about some of the pitches he'd like to see him throw and evaluating those.
You know, McGreevy's, I probably have fewer concerns about him than most of the guys in camp because he's a unique guy in that he doesn't have a lot of major league experience as a pitcher, but he's very, very mature. He's very, very professional. He's very, very smart. He knows how to make adjustments. If we watched him the last couple of years when he's been in St. Louis, the one thing about him, he does not get rattled. Yeah, he'll get a little frustrated. You can see it in his face. He wears it a little bit. But this guy does not fall apart mentally. And he's just a strong guy between the ears, as they say. And his stuff is good enough to play. It plays up. It's fine. He's not going to be a dominant pitcher. The Cardinals really don't have any of those yet. But the way this rotation is shaping up, I don't know about everybody else, but I think most people would be comfortable with him in the middle of your rotation. That's the way I feel.
Absolutely, 100%. I think that Matthew Liberatore is looking more and more like the guy that is going to start opening day, and those are your top 2 guys, I would assume. And then you got the Boston guys, and Dustin May is going to eventually get himself into pushing his way to the top of that rotation, I think, once he shows that he's healthy and ready to rock and roll. Hunter Dobbins, same thing. Richard Fitz, good, solid rotation guy, which kind of leaves Ranj the Kyle Leahy question, which, he has the arsenal to be a starter. And obviously the Cardinals have been talking about this for almost a year, that they liked the look of him as a possible starter down the road.
Well, they gave him a couple of opportunities last year at extended innings, and I don't know how much of that was out of necessity or just, hey, let's get a feel for him and see if he can go deeper than an inning or two. So, yeah, I mean, at this point, I would be more than happy with him in the rotation. And I guess the guy it's still intriguing to me, not so much in I'd like to see what he can do. It's more of, can he do enough to keep his job? And that's Palante, who starts today. Because it just, even though I wouldn't say they've got a lot in terms of real strong, for a fact, these guys are starting candidate pitchers in their system, or at least they're ready to pitch right now. So there's nobody that's just screaming to take his job away. But I don't know how much longer he lasts in that role. And I'm sure he's, in his own mind wondering what in the hell is going to happen here, even though he kind of has to put his head down and do it. But it feels to me like he's not long for the rotation, unless things fall apart for some other guys and he pitches well enough in the spring to stay there. So I don't know that he's, I like him. But I don't know that he's somebody that's in their long-term plan after this.
Ranch, the thing with Palante in 2024, his 4-seam fastball wasn't bad. It was pretty good. It was certainly competitive, and he was really tough with his secondary pitches. But last season, that 4-seam fastball just became very hittable.
Yeah.
I mean, he gave up 12 home runs on that pitch and a slugging percentage over 500. All his other stuff was okay. Like if you had a 4-seam fastball that was good, solid, respectable. If you look at a slider, knuckle curve, and all that stuff, sinker, that stuff played well. But the four-seam fastball was just, oh my gosh, it was just like putting it on a tee for these guys. I'm not trying to be cruel. It's just factually correct.
Unless you locate it perfectly, Bernie, you can't live without a fastball.
That's right. And so, like today, that's what I want to find out coming out of this start. I think he's a guy that from this very first outing, he's got to show that there will be more to this fastball, more movement, more up and down, like more horizontal break. There's just got to be something to it more than just rocking back and throwing and, seeing ball get hit far. 21 doubles and 12 home runs off that pitch last year. That's remarkable. So that's got to change, right?
KT says hearing the rotation scares the hell out of him. Well, what if I threw you these names? Miles Michaelis, Eric Fetty. Look, the Cardinals have gotten rid of a couple of pitchers that just didn't have it anymore. And we just talked about Palante. This is his chance. Let me throw some other names at you. Quinn Matthews, Bryson Motts, Tanner Franklin, Liam Doyle. Look, there are going to be, and Franklin may end up being a reliever before it's all said and done, but there's more coming. And this is about development of the 2028 Cardinals, in my mind, than what you're going to see right now to try to go chase down a division.
So there you go. Like if this is a team that is picked to finish 1 or 2 in the division, and people think, the offense is good enough, they can make a playoff run, and then you're going into the season with this rotation, then let it scare you. But you have to look at this season for what it is. This is another year where they are trying to figure out what they have in-house so that they know what to do moving forward in 27, 28, and past that. That's all this is. And maybe they're really competitive for a few months or longer than that. And that'll be great. That's gravy. But that's not what 2026 is about. It's about figuring out what you need to do in the future.
And speaking of Motts, Bernie, and Derek wrote about this today, and I thought asked a good question of Ollie Marmol yesterday about Motts and this whole thing about, he pitches 2 innings of relief yesterday, and the Cardinals obviously like that. But they also know the long term, he's a starter. Now, could he end up being a Steven Matz type hybrid down the road? I don't know. But don't you think that the best thing for him is probably starting at Memphis? But, they are kind of, this is what spring training is about. They can go back and forth a little bit and think about what the short-term, long-term things are for a guy like Motts. I think we'd all be in agreement that Motts as a starter is what you want to see right now.
I totally agree. Now, there'll be an interesting battle down in Memphis because the Cardinals have, 5 or 6 guys at the major league level that can serve in the rotation, but injuries are inevitable, even if they're minor. And there'll be some point in time where they're going to need another starter they can call on from Memphis. And is that guy going to be Quinn Matthews or is it going to be Motts? I think Motts is kind of the sleeper because he's not as well known as Matthews. And by the way, I love the way Matthews threw the ball the other day. That fastball was sizzling, and he had great spin on his breaking stuff. And by the way, Aki, I want to back up something that you said. When you look at this rotation, no one is saying that this is like a high-end rotation that's just going to overwhelm people. No one is going to say that. However, to your point, my friend, last year when Palante, Fetty, or Michaelis started a game for the Cardinals, they won 29 out of 75 of those games. Otherwise, they were 11 games over 500. So you got to try to keep this in perspective. There was a lot of carnage when those guys pitched. That's a fact. And even though Sonny Gray was really, really good, Sonny Gray was also a liability on the road. He was very good at home. So they have more to work with this year. That's the point, my takeaway going into spring training. This is not a lights out rotation. They have more options, more depth, more guys they can give the ball to with the expectation they'll get a respectable, solid, maybe good start on a pretty frequent basis. That's how you should look at it, in my opinion.
Now, Justin wants to take it to the next level and ask who's going to be the closer. That's what we're going to do when we come back. How about that for a tease?
Right.
We'll start talking about the bullpen and line that baby up. When we come back, it is the Gashouse Gang. We're going to have Chris Ranji take first crack at that. We'll have him analyze the bullpen and take a look and see. We'll start talking closers with him. He's also going to give us the weather, which is looking better and better by the minute here in St. Louis right now. It is. I was just out there. It's getting better. It's getting better. Yeah, it's getting better. Okay. Let me ask you this though: when the weather's really nice, how's that patio looking right now? How's the deck? How's your outdoor space? I've got a place for you, Chesterfield Fence and Deck. I once went over there to shoot a video with them, and it was the first time I had been in their showroom. And it was like walking through someone's neighborhood. You had a deck here, fence here, a sunroom over here, little outdoor kitchen over here. They do it all at Chesterfield Fence and Deck, and they make it so easy for you. Go to chesterfieldfence.com, but even better, their extensive showroom in Chesterfield Valley. Beautiful displays of fences, decks, pergolas, sunrooms, screen rooms, patios, endless possibilities. Free in-home estimates at no obligation, free project design, and the best part is that Chesterfield Fence and Deck has been doing this for 58 years. They're not just some new company trying to cut corners for you or try to save you a buck. They are the best in the business. So you're going to find a company that you can trust with your home. They're going to do the job right. Chesterfield Fence and Deck also features their own line of fencing, their own materials, their own trucks and tools, their own crew. They're the best, and they guarantee a 5-year labor warranty. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, mention me, Tom Ackerman, 48 months interest-free financing on your next outdoor project with Chesterfield Fence and Deck.
High fly ball, deep left field, and it's a gunner.
Kevin Wheeler, Matt Pauley, Bernie Miklasz, 3 voices, 1 hour, all Cardinals. From roster battles in Jupiter to pennant races in St. Louis, the Redbird Rush Hour delivers. The Redbird Rush Hour, weeknights at 5 on the voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
Hey guys, Kevin Wheeler here. I want to tell you about 213 Complex, and you can pick that up at supplement superstores. And quite simply, 213 Complex is the most effective and powerful all-natural weight loss supplement ever developed. Here's what it's doing for me and what it'll do for you. Boost the metabolism, gets it working at full go all the time. Helps with cravings, and man, that's a big deal for me. All-day focus energy with no jitters, no crash at the end of the day. It's a great tool for achieving your goals. Get out to supplement superstores. Tell them Kevin Wheeler sent you in. They will knock 30% off your 213 Complex, and you can find your location at supplementsuperstores.com.
Now, KMOX weather from the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk.
Cloudy and 44 degrees in St. Louis. The high today will be 53 and the low overnight of 35.
Hi, it's Kevin Wheeler here with Gloria Liu of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Welcome back, Gloria. Now, for years now, you've been on KMOX helping families plan their next big move with your Guaranteed Sold program. So for those planning to sell their home this year, what's your best advice?
Thank you. My advice is simple. Do your homework before listing your home. Our market is stabilizing, inventory is tightening and moving fast. In other words, the realtor you choose to sell your home really matters. That's why my sellers love my Guaranteed Sale program. I guarantee to sell your home at your agreed upon price and time frame, or I will buy it myself. I have thousands of buyers in my buyers in waiting database, so your home may already been sold before it's ever hit the market. Higher demand, more competition, and more money for your home.
Friends, if you want a realtor who will guarantee results, call the one that I trust. Gloria Liu at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888. Or GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
Now, back to the Gashouse Gang, sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling.
And by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis and Chesterfield Fence and Deck.
On 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Happy birthday to Stubby Clapp, who once took down Pete Alonso in a Cardinals-Mets game. He's 53 today. He's going into the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame.
That's right.
We like Stubby. We hope he's recovering from that USA hockey win on Sunday. The Canadian Stubby Clapp. All right, let's talk about on the Gashouse Gang with Bernie Miklasz and Chris Ranji. I'm Tom Ackerman, Matt Pajeski, Frank Ladd, our producers. The bullpen. And let's start from the very end. Who are your candidates, Chris Ranji, to close games for the Cardinals in 2026?
Well, do you want to have a left-handed closer or not? You okay with that idea? It doesn't really.
I don't know how many lefties you got.
I mean,
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, Romero's probably your guy at this point.
Beyond him, like who's going to be your lefty setup guy? That's another conversation we're about to have. But Okay, so there's one.
Justin Brule. Well, he's not going to be closing games
But
for
setting
you, but
up,
maybe
yeah.
he might set up for
Okay.
you. I don't know. I mean, the thing about this bullpen this year is that with the exception of O'Brien, who is over the age of 30, and there's one other guy who's over, Stanek is over 30. You got a collection of guys who are pretty young, so there's a lot of room to play around here. And again, I am more concerned. I guess I don't care so much about who ends up closing games for the Cardinals in 2026. I am more concerned about figuring out who you've got that can stick around beyond this. That's all this season is about. But you do have a bunch of young candidates that hopefully by the end of this season, you'll have a pretty good idea of 5 or 6 of them that maybe you can hang on to, and you're really only filling holes beyond that, maybe just a couple of different holes. But at this point, I'm assuming Romero is your guy if he's still around. Maybe O'Brien.
Oh, yeah, if he can get healthy. Who do you see on the back end of the bullpen, Bernie?
Well, I think it starts with Matt Swanson, and I know Ali Marmol probably doesn't want to put too much on his shoulders, but the thing about that, with all due respect to Ali, I'm not sure about what he may have seen last year in high leverage situations that would tell him like, well, we got to be careful with this guy, not give him too much. Can I throw something out here that I think is pretty cool? I found another little statistical nugget I found the other day. In 2025, Matt Swanson became the first St. Louis rookie reliever during the entire expansion era, which began in 1961, to have this combination: at least 60 innings pitched, ERA of 1.94 or lower, average of 10 strikeouts or more per 9 innings, and a very low home run rate of 0.45 per 9 innings. One rookie reliever has done that in a Cardinals uniform in a season since 1961. I think he'll handle it okay. I think he'll be all right.
Yeah.
And it's not like the Cardinals have never gone with rookie closers. And by the way, he wouldn't be a rookie closer. He's been his second year. I mean, Todd Worrell was a pretty impressive rookie closer. The guy doesn't have any holes in his game. Now listen, he's going to have to show that he can do it again. I know that. You don't make a career off of 1 year. But what he did last year was absolutely remarkable, and it had historical prominence. And so I don't know why you would really not want to give him the ball and let him own that job.
Yeah, and if
he can keep it.
And Bernie, if there is a season to do it, this is the season to experiment, isn't it?
Yeah.
With just about anybody.
And, with Riley O'Brien, listen, I was really happy to see him. He's clearly got great stuff, but I don't know if he'll hold up. I think Swanson's a bigger, stronger guy, so we'll see. And JoJo, I don't know. I mean, I think JoJo can do a good job as a closer, but his stuff's got to be really, really fine. I mean, that slider's got to be great, or right-handed batters are going to crush him. So there's a vulnerability there, even though he's very, very good. But him, facing a lot of right-handers, right-handed batter makes me a little nervous. Swanson will shut down righty hitters and lefty hitters both. I'm excited about him, as you all can tell.
Yeah, no, I'm the same. I have Swanson as the closer to start, and then we'll see where it goes from there. I think going to Romero on occasion could work, but Romero is your lefty setup guy because, quite honestly, guys, I'm not sure who I can rely on right now behind him. Now, Justin Brule was brought in for that reason, and they're going to give him a look. We just talked about Motts, although I'd prefer him to be a starter in Memphis. Packy Naughton, interesting that they bring him along. That kind of is an indication that they kind of, want him to try to snag one of those lefty setup spots. And he's actually going to pitch tonight. And so is Brule. So you'll be able to see the two of them going at it. Another guy lined up tonight that I don't have set up as a closer necessarily because he had some struggles, but it wasn't long ago that he was being anointed, I think, by some. That's Ryan Fernandez. We kind of forget about him, but he's going to pitch tonight. That's who they have right now available, or at least lined up, slated to pitch behind Palante, Fernandez, Brule, and Naughton. So we'll see where that goes.
By the way, talking about Romero, I mean, we don't even know if he'll be here.
Well, there's
still a good possibility that somebody trades for him. I know, was it MLB Trade or Mass Live? Somebody reported on the possibility of him going to Boston. So
who doesn't go to Boston?
I mean, right. They've been, that
Yeah.
pipeline's already open. So that's possible.
I think
guess.
it's a big possibility, Bernie, that could happen at the deadline, that, somebody's going to need, you always need a reliever at the deadline, and somebody takes a swing at Jojo Romero at the deadline, and the Cardinals get something out of it because his value is high at that point.
And a lot of teams won't want to trade for a closer aggressively until maybe the deadline. I don't know. Like, part of me thinks, you got to be careful, because suppose he's ineffective against right-handed hitters, or he's just off form, or he's got he's got a strained, flexor tendon or whatever. Then you won't get much for him at all. So there is a risk there, but it's not like you can force a trade, and it would be silly to sort of give him away early in the season. I think you take the gamble that you can get a higher price for him later.
I just gave you the pitchers. We'll give you the lineup for today. It's again a 5:05 start on KMOX. We have an evening game, first one of the spring. Victor Scott II will lead off, plays center field. Thomas Sajaci's the shortstop tonight, batting second. Jordan Walker's in right. Nelson Velasquez is the DH in the cleanup spot. Joel Pozo's going to get some run at first base tonight, batting fifth. Pedro Pajes behind the plate sixth. Cesar Prieto is the second baseman seventh. Brian Torres in left field eighth, and Ramon Mendoza is the third baseman, batting ninth with Palante pitching. But I wanted to ask you, Bernie, about Ramon Urias, who I note that you wrote a nice little column about, and I am excited to see him. And actually, I don't want to say excited, I feel safe with Urias and his glove. He can play third base. He won a Gold Glove there. He can play second base. And it's not like he's going to take Nolan Gorman's job. It's just nice to have.
In his career, he's an above average hitter against left-handed pitching. Now, we're not trying to oversell it here. I mean, we're not talking about a truly scary bat, but for a guy that won a Gold Glove, a guy who can play short, he can play second base, he's been really respectable that way. To be able to plug him into the lineup. And by the way, during his career, in terms of his offense, he's equally effective against right-handed pitchers as he is left-handed pitchers. I mean, those guys are kind of hard to find too. When you have a role player, you want them to be able to, you don't want them to be overmatched by either the left side pitchers or the righties. He's also, the research that I did, and thank you for mentioning that column, which you can find at STL Sports Central. I went back to Baltimore to see how much he was valued on three really good Orioles teams, 22, 23, 24, three really, really good teams. Those players in that clubhouse loved him. He was as respected as anybody there because he was great with young players. He was a great teammate. He always kind of knew what to say, or, how to approach a teammate, even if the teammate, a young guy, needed encouragement, life's lessons, all that stuff. So I'm not saying he's going to become the team leader. What I am saying is that in addition to being a really useful player, he does have those so-called intangibles that I think the Cardinals were interested in adding. So that's a bonus. And I think that Tom, in my opinion, Ranj, in my opinion, again, I'm not proclaiming him a superstar, not at all. But I think when they picked him, when they signed him, there was kind of a fan reaction out there. People kind of shrugged. They said, well, I would have signed McCutchen, even though he doesn't play outfield anymore. This was actually a targeted signing by Bloom that I think was really, really smart.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. It's a bit of a safety blanket, don't you think? At minimum, that's what that is. I mean, why would you not? Yeah. They already needed the help, I think. So go right ahead. This is not the kind of thing that should have deserved an overreaction one way or another. You're giving yourself a little insulation. That's it.
And Matt Pauley was talking about this last night on Redbird Rush Hour. I think we all would agree with this much. If you're going to really try to find out once and for all, maybe about Nolan Gorman this season, and maybe some people are burned out on the whole Gorman thing, I get it. But he made the commitment to stick with him and give him another chance. But it's got to be a full chance. And I don't think that the new guy will eat into his playing time at third base in a way that Gorman becomes like a semi-part-time guy. I think Gorman's still going to play the overwhelming amount of time there. But Gorman could also DH, and he can be used, at second base on occasion, whatever. But I think it was a good pickup because you need some protection at those positions.
I'm with you. I want to see a lot of at-bats from Nolan Gorman, without a doubt. You know what else I want to see? I want to see Bernie Miklasz talking about Saliga Heating and Cooling.
You know, this just in a scoop. I'm changing my last name to Saliga. What do you think?
I like it.
You could be adopted by now.
I'm Bernie. Just call me Bernie Saliga. No, I've been talking about them for so long, but more than that, I've been calling the Saliga Heating and Cooling for a long time here at the Miklasz home. 18, 19 years we've been calling them. And you listen, St. Louisans have been relying on this Daikin Comfort dealer since 1927. They're in business for 100 years now, and I love it. 4 generations of Saliga without interruptions. They do a great job. We have found them to be 100% trustworthy. Their credibility in terms of how they treat you, the stuff that they tell you, the advice that they give you, all of that stuff is very genuine, very smart, very much on the money because they believe, hey, how about this? We got to earn your trust every time we visit any home in the St. Louis area. We have to earn their trust. And they hold themselves to a high standard. That's one of the reasons why that should be your call if you get in trouble and you're wondering about something's wrong with my heating and cooling. What do I do now? You call Saliga Heating and Cooling at 314-481-7333 because you'll get on a service that's highly professional, highly intelligent, and very patient in terms of explaining everything to you. So to find out more, including that, get that phone number again, just go to SaligaHeatingandCooling.com. Thank you.
There'll be plenty of surprises. Matt Pauley is in Jupiter with inside access to Camp Cardinals.
Presented by St. Louis Composting. Composting, growing gardens and making memories. And Happy Roof. We always create happy endings.
From breakout performances to roster revelations, get reports throughout the day on the voice of the Cardinals. KMOX.
I'm Dave Glover, and I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Dr. Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. You can too. Just go to youridoc.com.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement. Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
Well, good morning, kiddo. I love that you're home from college. I've missed you.
Still taking your Nature Made vitamins?
Every day. A multivitamin and a probiotic. You better be taking yours.
Still looking out for me, Mom.
I'll never stop.
Made to care for you every day. Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist recommended vitamin and supplement brand. Find us in the vitamin aisle, based on a survey of pharmacists who recommend branded vitamins and supplements.
Straight Realty has always been an industry leader when it comes to commissions, so it should come as no surprise that the recent Realtor settlement has only empowered us to continue offering our sellers even better rates. We now list homes for only 2%. Hi, I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty. Call me, 314-441-4444. Why pay more than 2? You can also listen to my podcast on my website, straightrealty.com.
Commissions are not regulated and are negotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
The Missouri Valley Conference Men's Basketball Tournament has been the showcase for buzzer beaters, madness, and championship glory. With nearly 5 decades of heart-racing excitement, it begins here at Enterprise Center. The 2026 State Farm MVC Tournament, presented by Credit Union One, Great Southern Bank, and SSM Health, tips off on March 5th through 8th. Celebrate 50 years of the Valley's postseason championship. Get your tickets now at archmadness.com.
Bernie Miklasz on KMOX is sponsored by Stewart's American Mortgage, home of the Bagel Loan, and by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin Comfort dealer.
Gives it to Jones, up top Sharma, now to Robbie, left wing, bang! Robbie Avila!
Oh, that's connected. That's what I'm talking about. Togetherness, Weber.
There they go, the St. Louis Billikens and the Billiken Hall of Famers, Bob Ramsey and Earl Austin Jr. They'll have the call tonight on 104.1 FM. Cardinals will be on 11:20 a.m. Fun night to flip back and forth as the Cardinals and Billikens will both be playing. SLU at Dayton tonight. for a 6 o'clock tip, 5:45 pregame. Be careful here. Dayton got absolutely walloped by SLU at Chaffetz Arena, 102-71. That doesn't sit very well in Dayton, Ohio. They don't like that. They have a long-standing rivalry with SLU. They have a deep basketball tradition in Dayton. And Bernie Miklasz, UD Arena, will be ready to go. Josh Schertz said it himself. We're going into a hornet's nest. He knows that. The Billikens and the Flyers tonight. What do you think?
I'd love it, specifically because it's a road game, even though the Billikens have had problems early in home games too. I'd love to see them come out and have a really strong first half, because St. Louis U is having a remarkable season in a lot of ways. And one of the ways they are truly remarkable, they're the third best team in the nation in the second half in terms of points differential. They're right there with like Duke, I'm serious, and Gonzaga. But what would happen if they could put two strong halves together? Tonight's a good night to do that in a tough spot, as you pointed out. Look, I know the loss to Rhode Island, you don't want that, but I think a loss was inevitable because they were sort of flirting with that. You know, they weren't playing that good by their standards, as Josh Schertz said many times. But if you look at, I go to barttorvik.com for stuff like this. We know that SLU gets into the tournament if they win the Atlantic 10 Conference tournament. So, but in terms of an at-large bid, if it would come to that, right now, according to Bart Torvik, the Billikens have a 97% chance at an at-large bid. The only thing that can mess that up, and my friend Iman Brennan, who long time with who is at ESPN, now has his own Substack. It's great. You know, he said, like, man, I'd love to just like punch St. Louis U in right now. And he said, listen, they're going to get in, but they got to be a little careful. They can't lose like three, there's like 4 games left, I think, in the regular season, something like that. They can't go into some late season slide. They got to be careful. I think they could survive a loss at Dayton, though. Because they got a couple easy games after that. So what do you guys think?
Yeah, a loss at Dayton, I'm sure you don't want to get blown out like you did to them. I think that would look pretty bad. But you've got this game on the road. You're going to come back for 2 more. So you really can't have any slip-ups at home. You really need to win Duquesne and Loyola at home. I think that's a must. And you probably need to win George Mason on the road. But I don't know how you figure out, because we are very late in the year, guys. I don't know how you figure out this first half thing. I don't know how you figure it out at this point. And I know Josh Schertz has been to work on it and, trying to send the message, hey, we need to start strong, fellas, because eventually it's going to come back to bite you like it did, a week and a half ago. Because you're not always going to be able to come back in the second half and win. You're not going to be able to come back and overcome 10, 13, 14-point deficits. It will get you eventually. So I don't know how you figure this out with 4 games to go. But if they do, they're going to be really dangerous when they get to not just the conference tournament, but beyond that. And I'm with the guy you're talking about, Bernie. I expect them to get in because I don't think they're going to lose 2 in a row. I don't think they're going to drop like 3 of these next 4. I just don't think that's going to happen. Right. So as long as that doesn't happen, I think they'll get in. But you've got to figure out this first half problem quickly.
Yeah, I think it's maybe a substitution issue, and they try to figure out the right combinations. I can tell you, every time Kellen Thames comes into the game, they seem to have an extra spark, and they start to run. Maybe Thames comes in earlier. Maybe he starts. Maybe you shake it up a little bit. I don't know. But I don't want to play armchair quarterback with Josh Schertz because he knows better than me. But that's definitely what he's trying to do, is figure out the right combination of players at the right times. I do think SLU is in at the moment. Jerry Palm has him in as an 8, playing against SMU in the 8-9 game with the number 1 seed being Duke. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't that be awesome? He also has Missouri in, Bernie, as an 11, taking on Villanova. And I think Missouri's not far away. I think they get their 10 SEC wins. They're going to be in that tournament. They have a big one tonight at home against Tennessee.
And they got to win that one. And listen, here I did some homework on Mizzou. According to Bart Torvik, they have a 53.3% chance of getting an at-large bid as of right now. And as you lay out their schedule, they have Tennessee at home, then they go to Mississippi State, then they go to Oklahoma, then they come home against Arkansas. This is kind of a really interesting thing. If you look at the bracket matrix, which tracks the top 121 bracket predictions, as of today, the Tigers make the tournament in 97 out of the 121. So they have, as of today, they would have an 80% chance of making the big dance. But, and here's the way they do it. Here's the way they do it. If they win 2 of these Final 4 regular season games, I think they're in. I think they're in. They just can't avoid to soil the bed, with a couple of these games they absolutely can't afford to win. But if they, as long as they win 2 of the Final 4, I think they're in pretty good shape. I really do.
Yeah, I do too. Just for Illinois fans curious, Palm has them as a 2 seed playing in that same region as SLU, actually. And in St. Louis, he has Iowa State and Purdue as the big dogs here. They would draw some very nice crowds. Of course, you'd love to see Illinois get here if they can, but they got a little more work to do still. What a game they have on Friday. Oh, baby. They host Michigan. That's going to be awesome.
Wow.
In Champaign. I mean, Illinois is capable of winning it all. I think we all know that. So is Michigan. And in that building, that's going to be awesome. Really good stuff, guys. What a fun day we had today. College basketball alive and well. Again, just for folks so they know, 11:20 a.m. has the Cardinals tonight. So you get that classic AM sound, I guess, on the baseball. And then basketball will be on 104.1 FM, the Billikens and Dayton. A great night, as always. The Gashouse Gang, we have some great sponsors. Saliga Heating and Cooling, Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, Chesterfield Fence and Deck, Bernie Miklas, Chris Ranji, Tom Ackerman. Ranj, close us out with another sponsor, FanDuel.
Guys, we're talking about basketball. Well, how about professional basketball, in particular the NBA Finals? Ever thought about going or wish you did go? Well, here's your opportunity courtesy of FanDuel. And all you have to do is use your profit boost on an NBA future, and you're going to be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for 2. The NBA futures, as you know, they let you lock in your pick for who you think is going to go all the way. So who's going to win that championship, or maybe even before that, who's going to win the conference title? You get an opportunity to predict that with FanDuel. Just go to FanDuel.com/Missouri. FanDuel.com/Missouri and place that eligible bet and use your profit boost, and you will be entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. Must be 21 or over and present in Missouri. No purchase necessary. Limit 1 entry for profit boost token. Opt-in required. Must apply profit boost token on select market. Restrictions apply. See full terms, including methods of entry, at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
How many of you think taxes will